Can people hear me? Hello? Can people hear this? I don't know if people can hear me. Yes. Okay, good. People can hear. Well, Evan can hear. And that's the most important thing. It's fantastic that Evan from last year revises for this year's mock exam. Vital. Right, so if I've done this correctly, then that should be the 10 obligatory acts appearing. I'm going to assume the 10 obligatory acts and the 5 pillars of Islam are on the screen. We mean business, so I'm going to wear my hat backwards like a no, I'm not going to do that. So these are your Islamic practices except for the festivals, okay? These are the most important Islamic practices you'll need to have. I don't think Islamic practices is that hard outside of quotes. Quotes is obviously the really difficult bit. I'm assuming this is working. If people can say yes in the chat if it's working and people can hear me, that would really help me out. Just a yes in the chat would help me out. So we've got our Islamic practice, we've got our 5 pillars of Islam, and then we've got a 10. Yes, Evan, fantastic. Thank you, Nicole. Not a baby anymore. Mr. Land, now a toddler. No, dogs, don't try and get the... Oh, you want to take the dog. Rosa, you've got to go on a walk. Late night walk. Bye-bye, dog. So, the 5 pillars of Islam are Shahada, Salah, Zakah, Sawm and Hajj. So, you've got Shahada, which is the declaration of faith, the sentence that all Muslims are meant to declare, to say. It is something that they should all believe in and something they should say on regular occasions. You've got Salah, which is your 5 daily prayers. Except if you're Shia Muslim, you've got the argument of whether it's 5 prayers or 3 prayers or 5 prayers on 3 occasions. That's a nice thing for a 12-mark question. For Zakah, you've got the giving of alms, 2.5% of the money charity. Oh, I left my drink in the kitchen. I'll get it later. 2.5% of their money to charity, of their savings to charity every year. Sawm, the fasting during Ramadan, which is happening now. It is Ramadan now, and people are fasting during this time. And then Hajj, the Muslim pilgrimage to Mecca, going around the Kaaba. If you look at the 10 obligatory acts, then we can see that 4 of them are in the same list. These 4 are on both lists. How do I make that a colour? Pew, look at that. Skills to pay the bills. These 4, all in yellow, are the same. And the 10 obligatory acts is for Shia Muslims. See you later, Evan. No worries, darling. You calling me Dan feels weird now. I know that is my name, but I haven't been called Dan in a long time. No one calls me Dan. So, for Shia Muslims and Sunni Muslims, Salah, Zakat, Sawm and Hajj are the same. And that's a really nice point to put in any 12-mark questions about them and being like, oh, these are equally important for all types of Muslims, and that's fine. The Shahada is also something that is important for Shia Muslims. They say the Shahada, and don't forget they add something to it, but that is a thing you can mention in a 12-mark question, that the Shahada is not considered one of the obligatory acts. These 4 at the bottom are the ones you don't need to worry about so much, okay? You've got Amir Bil Maruf, which is encouraging. Oh my god, I can't reach the keyboard. Encouraging good. I mean, I've spelled encouraging wrong. Oh no, I spelled it so wrong that even spelling check. Encouraging good and discouraging evil. Okay, please discourage evil. Stop letting evil thrive. Tawalia, associate with the good. And Tabara, disassociate. That is so badly spelt with evil. Okay, don't hang out with evil people. Those 4. Daniel is better, Evan. Thank you. I like Daniel more. Daniel. It's my actual name. So, those 4 I wouldn't stress about too much. They've never come up as anything other than as any sort of question. They are just part of the 10 obligatory acts. They're not part of the key terms. They shouldn't be able to put their names into a question. The only time you might need them, if there was, and this would be terrible for us, a 12-mark question about the 10 obligatory acts themselves. But even then, I would focus on these first 6 of the 10 obligatory acts rather than the last 4. there's not going to be a 12-mark question which says name all the 10 obligatory acts. I wouldn't stress about that. Jihad and Coombs are two that you're going to have to talk about. Coombs is part of it, and so is Jihad, so you'll have to talk about that. So let's start with the first of the 5 pillars, which is the Shahada. So I thought what we'd do tonight is we would look at each of the things, talk about some facts about it. Evan was a student I taught last year, Fran. On one occasion, he hid under my desk and grabbed my ankles as I sat down at my desk, and he used to chant at me quite a lot. It was a glorious time. Lovely to see you, Fran. So we'll talk about Shahada first. So the Shahada is the declaration of faith. Declaration of faith is a sentence that declares what all Muslims believe in. If you don't believe in this sentence, you're probably not a Muslim, in terms of how could you be if you don't believe there's one God who is Allah and Muhammad is his messenger. That is the core of all Muslim belief. Even if you don't pray, even if you don't do anything else, believing this is fundamental to all Muslim beliefs. So much so that to become a Muslim, all you need to do is say the Shahada on 3 occasions in front of a true believer. That is the test of becoming a Muslim. Saying this sentence and truly meaning it, not being tricked into it. You say it when someone is born, so it's the first thing they hear because it's so fundamental to all Muslim beliefs. You say it as the last thing a Muslim hears because it's so fundamental to all Muslim beliefs. You say it when you're going through difficult times because it's running that God is with you at all times. It is an important sentence. It's said at the start of prayers because it's that vital. What is that sentence? There is one God who is Allah and Muhammad is his messenger. Why is that useful? Well, we can use that on any Tawheed question, but you can reverse that as well, and you can use any question about the Shahada, you can bring Tawheed into it as well and be like, I hit the microphone, sorry. You can be like, this emphasises Muslims' belief in Tawheed. So if you're going to mention Shahada, make sure you mention Tawheed because it's essential with it. But also, if you're going to mention Muhammad, you can mention the Shahada with it. If there's anything about Muhammad and beliefs in the Prophet, mention the Shahada in it as well. And then you've got the Shia addition onto it. Okay, so I'm going to highlight that in green so you know that this is the Shia addition to it. Shias add, and Ali is the friend of Allah. Ali is the friend of Allah, and that is Shia only. Okay, so Ali is the friend of Allah. This is important for lots of reasons. Firstly, it shows that Ali is important to all Shia Muslims, that he is missing the Premier League poems. Oh no, I don't really do those poems anymore. I did write a poem the other day. Okay, Mr. Ollie, I don't know what to tell you. I haven't been hiding. I just haven't, I've got a GCSE class. Glad you're happy. I don't know. So, the Ali is a friend of Allah is important because it shows that Ali is not a prophet. It doesn't say Ali is a prophet. It doesn't say Ali is his messenger. Ali is a friend of Allah. That shows that he is chosen. He is one of the imamate, so he is chosen because he's one of the imamate, and that makes him important. But he's not as important as Muhammad. He is not worthy of worship. And that is an important distinction between Ali and Muhammad in this line. But it shows how important the imams, the imamate, must be to Shia Muslims. That line there, and Ali is the friend of Allah. Both of these are quotes. However, you must be careful, okay? And Ali is the friend of Allah is not in the Quran. That is not in the Quran because don't forget, Ali being the first imam does not happen until the Quran is fully written. Well done, Ollie. Good job. That's really impressive. I hope lots of my students get 9s in the GCSEs. I've got a really class with lots of 9s in it potentially. Oh no, I've put my little pictures going over some of the words. How do I make myself smaller? Shrink. I'm tiny. I shouldn't talk like that. There, that's it. So the Shahada is so important because I think that's a really important thing to just go on all the time. Potential questions, and I thought these might be potential questions. If any of these potential questions you're like, I don't know how to answer that, and you're watching, put in the chat, can we go through that question? And I will answer that question. We'll do that as a 4 or 5 marker. So, I don't think Shahada would be too difficult, okay? Explain 2 contrasting ways Muslims practice their Shahada. There's 2 ways that question could be phrased, and this one I think is the harder one. That's why I put it in there. So, I think the easier question would be explain two contrasting beliefs about it should be Muslim beliefs about the Shahada. I've got to put the word Muslim in there, otherwise I won't feel good about it. So that one I think is actually quite easy. This question here, which I'm going to highlight in pink, I think this question is relatively easy. Because that question, you would just do the Sunni Shahada versus the Shia Shahada. Two contrasting ways Muslims practice the Shahada, should be the Shahada, that was poor, is more difficult. Because one, you might misread it and talk about the Sunni versus the Shia Shahada. Because actually, in terms of how they're practiced in relatively similar ways. The practice, I would be talking about different occasions when they would say the Shahada and why that's important. Fran, the Shahada is the most... right, Jack, you no longer do GCSE RE. You're 18 now, I imagine. Fran, you would not surprise me if a 9 came out of your brain. I've got faith in you still, darling. Got faith in everyone. I'm not predicting it, but I still have faith in you no matter what. Always have faith in Fran. You've never let me down in these things, Fran. That has to be said. You've never let me down at all. Every mock we've done, you've always flourished. So, I think that question, explaining two ways Muslim practice Shahada, is slightly harder. I would want to say stuff like... some Muslims will say the Shahada when a baby is born. This is to start their life with it. And then some Muslims will say the Shahada to convert to Islam. Now, the way contrasting makes it sound like you've got to say opposite in that sense, but it just means different beliefs. I don't think the exam board will let you get away with saying the Shahada at the beginning of someone's life and the end of someone's life. I would focus on the converting to Islam and focus on the start of life and end of life. I think those would be the ways I would do it. And saying the Shahada is the most important duty for all Muslims. If that was the 12 marker, I'd be really, really happy with that one. I've looked at writing a Shahada question, which would be like talking about the Shahada Sunni versus Shia. I can't imagine the exam board doing it, which is we probably should practice it, because if I can't imagine the exam board doing it, they'll probably do it. But if they were going to do that, it'd be something along the lines of the addition of mentioning Ali in the Shahada. Yeah, I can't work out a way they could do it so you could actually say it like... So you'd actually have to compare the Sunni and Shia Shahadas. I can't work out a wording of it that would work for the exam. Maybe a smart teacher than me would be able to. If this was the question, saying the Shahada is the most important duty for all Shia Muslims, I think you would all be very good on that one. I hope you'd all be very good. You'd compare the Shahada to, say, prayer and Hajj would be my two, because you've got the most to say about those ones, in my opinion. And actually, I might do prayer and charity, zakat, actually. My evaluation of Shahada would always be that though Shahada is a very important duty, it doesn't allow people to actually help others. And then I'd probably come down to this idea that the most important are ones that can actually help other people. And maybe the most important religious duty is zakat, the actual act of helping other people, because that is the only one that improves people's lives. What seems to be the way Sunni and Shia practice it? There isn't particularly a large way. They say it in the same occasions. You say it to convert still. I can't think off the top of my head of a specific way, this is answering Katie's question there, of different ways they practice it. When you say contrasting beliefs, Muslims, do you have to mean like if one's doing it and one doesn't? No, Jack, you don't. And I love the fact that you're asking really good questions still, even though you don't do RE anymore. You don't have to do that different on a question like this. On a themes paper, it might be suggesting you should do that, but normally on a practices paper, it normally just wants different ways you can do it. Contrasting doesn't always have to mean opposite, it can just mean different. And for this one, the difference is some Muslims say it during their life, some Muslims say it at the end. I don't think they would actually phrase the question like this. I'm just trying to put difficult questions in here. I think they would just have explain two Muslim beliefs about the Shahada if it was going to be a 4 or 5 marker. But you're right, Katie. This is why I think Shahada questions would be easy, because I don't think they can be that difficult. So let's look at prayer quickly. How long have I got? 15 minutes. Yeah, that's fine. This is what I wanted to do more about Islamic practices. If at any point you're like, oh, go back or do something else or repeat this, or there's a topic I want you to go over, please tell me. Why is that bit so far back? I don't know. So, your 5 daily prayers, okay, is Salah. Now, I've just written some random words as part of this. Firstly, I've gone for, where can I see it? There we go. Wudu, okay? The idea of washing before you do your prayers is known as wudu. What do you compare predestination to? Well, predestination is Islamic beliefs. We can do that afterwards, Fran. It's a good question. Can you ask Evie, Fran, if she means in a 12-mark question or like in a 4-1, does she mean like how would you, if I don't really know what she means, what do you compare predestination to? Just you mean contrasting beliefs about it? I'm not quite sure what the question means. I was going to phrase it better. Come on, Evie, you're better than that. I would talk. If the question might be, and did I do this? Like, let's say the prayer question was explain to. Would there be any questions on discouraging Muslims? Jesus, that's a good question, Jack. I don't think there would be, but I wouldn't hate it as a paragraph in a 12 marker. I certainly wouldn't. So these are the factors. These are the sort of features of Muslim prayers for all Muslims, okay? These are things I'd want you to say, highlighted in yellow here, that there's 5 daily prayers, that you do wudu beforehand. Wudu is the wash that you do to get yourself spiritually ready to connect to God. Rakat are the positions that you get into. Don't forget, one of those is having your head Husna, hello. Yeah, maybe. We'll go over that in a bit if you want. We'll have to do that, Husna. As that lesson got rushed by the fire alarm. I'll do human accountability and human responsibility. That's fine. We'll do some predestination in a second because it seems like predestination is in our minds. So I will talk about, if I was talking about Rakat, I'll talk about the being prostrate and having your head prostrate, not prostate. Prostate's the bit of your rectum. Prostrate, your head upon the floor. Yeah, 12 marker, Frank. Yeah, that's fine. We'll do some predestination next, Evie. Husna, we'll do some predestination next. We'll look at human accountability and responsibility. That's really good. Everyone loves predestination. So Rakat, putting your head prostrate along the floor. Facing Makkah, because it's a centre of all worship, showing it's a centre of all Muslim faith. Separation of male and female, so people are not distracted by improper thoughts when you're praying. These are all things that you could talk about if it was saying, if the question was like, explain 2 different ways Muslims practice Salah. These are, explain 2 different features of Salah. That could be a 2 marker, could be a 4 marker, 5 marker. These are sort of things that I'll be saying. If you're talking about 2 reasons why they do prayer, well, you've got your quotes at the bottom here, which I think would help you answer those. So if the question was like, explain 2 reasons why they do prayer, then you've got like, oh, they would pray for assistance because they say, the Lord says, call on me and I'll answer you. Or they could be praying for help through patience prayer. But they also pray because it's one of the 5 pillars of Islam. Don't forget that it's always a reason why they do this. They do this because they are told to as part of their faith. The 5 pillars of Islam say that they must do this as a sign of their dedication and commitment, and they want to follow the example of the Prophet Muhammad. Don't forget, Shia Muslims do 5 prayers over 3 occasions. So rather than spreading the prayers equally, I keep looking at the microphone when I'm talking like that as the camera, but the camera's up there. I'm stupid. I've forgotten where the camera is. I'm looking at the microphone. So Sunni Muslims do 5 prayers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Gamer. Excellent. That's really useful. Whereas Shia Muslims go, I can't split my fingers like that. There. Shia Muslims go 1, 2, have a gap. 3, 4, have a gap. 5. So both would argue they're doing 5 prayers, but if the question was about contrasting ways they do it, then you could split into Sunni and Shia to make sure you're really contrasting between the difference in prayers. You could also do a contrasting thing that Shia Muslims place their head upon a clay tablet. The clay tablet shows they're connected to the ground, as Prophet Muhammad would always pray with his head upon the natural ground itself. And you can contrast that with Sunni Muslims who use a prayer mat to pray on. That's a nice comparison as well. 12 markers on prayers I think would be really interesting. So 12 markers on prayers I think I'd find really interesting. For example, the 12 marker could be like, oh, this would be horrible, directly about a part of prayer. So the 12 marker could be something like, and I'm just going to go underneath the quotes here, performing wudu is the most important part of Salah. Now, I don't think the exam board would ever do that. I think it's too silly in terms of you'd have to be arguing about which part of a prayer ritual is the most important when the whole idea of the prayer ritual is that you perform all of it. But every time I think the exam board can't do something silly, they often do something silly, so it's worth keeping our heads. They might do this. If you're comparing the features of prayer, one, you've got the idea that you come at the end and go, all features of prayer are equally important because they're all part of the ritual that Muhammad has taught them. So this means every element from wudu to rak'ah, all is important. Secondly, if I was going to argue one was more important, if I really wanted to come to a conclusion, I would probably come to the conclusion that the rak'ah are the most important, the positions, because it shows so much respect to God by bowing your head directly to the ground. And the rak'ah are the actual motions of the prayers themselves. But I don't think that would be a question. More likely it's to be suggesting why prayer is the most important way that you can worship, like the most important of the 5 pillars, the most important way to show respect to God. I think that's a pretty easy question. I don't think we'd be panicking about that one. But as it has had multiple of us talking about this, let us go on to, now Mr. Minton needs to not get this wrong. Blank. Is that blank now? Yeah, that's blank. Okay, let's look at some predestination. And let's first of all talk about the definition. Destination of these 3 terms: human accountability and human responsibility. Right. Oh, I think I've done that right. Yeah. So, oh, okay, I've clearly just deleted something there. Have I done this right? Uh-oh. Okay. So, do you know what? They also have on the spec human freedom, but we don't really define that because it's so easy. Okay. So these terms: predestination is the idea that life is planned by Allah and that all things are done as part of His will. And then you've got the phrase Inshallah. Allah wills it, which is your phrase to respond to that, like Inshallah, all things done through His will. Okay, good. No questions in the chat. Lovely. Whereas human accountability, I would say like the idea that we are all going to be held responsible. Oh my lord, responsible for our actions on Judgment Day. Excellent, Mr. Minton, you've done well there. Which one next? Human responsibility. I would say we have a responsibility as we have freedom over our own actions and are responsible for their consequences. And human freedom, that we have free will over our own lives. Right. I mean, that is probably, let me just, where's the chat gone? Oh, there we go. Yeah, Ruby, they can, annoyingly. Anything that is in the subject-specific language can come up as a 4 or 5 marker. It would be horrible. They've never, ever done it before. Once again, doesn't stop them doing it now. What would the 4 or 5 marker be on that? Let's have a little think about how they'd phrase that. So I'll move those up there. I'm just going to make this slightly easier to read. So if there was going to be a 5 marker, or let's a 4 or 5 marker, explain to Jack. That is the conundrum of predestination. So explain 2 Muslim teachings about the nature of human responsibility. I mean, yeah, Ruby, you're right. That question would look, I think it would look really disturbing, and you'd be like, no, that's horrible. But actually, if we break it down and start to answer it, I think you'd be saying things that you wouldn't find that difficult. So we'll nip to this page and we'll actually have a go at doing that. So this is obviously a very good setup I've got here, where I've balanced a computer behind the what's this called, microphone. So I do apologise if it's a little bit confusing. So I'd probably go one way that Muslims believe in human responsibility responsibility is that they have control over their own actions. This is shown as the angels sit upon their shoulders, writing down their deeds, which they will be judged upon on Judgment Day. I wish I hadn't used the word judge there. Judged upon Judgment Day seems awful. I mean, that is for 4 markers. That is as simple as I go. And then I might be like, another way is that Shia Muslims see predestination as Allah having set many paths for them. This shows a nature of human responsibility as they are responsible for choosing the correct path and reaching Jannah. Right, that is something along the lines I do. Horrible question. Oh, yeah, of course, Katie. I believe, Katie, that with these modern things like streaming, you could probably have rewound the video yourself. I'm not saying that that's definitely the case, but I have put it back for you for a few seconds so you can take a picture. But I'm fairly certain on modern technology you can have the ability to rewind. I read about it in a technology magazine. The future's amazing. You can rewind things. It's incredible. If there's, I'll wait for a second on this page as well. If anyone has any things they want me to go over, throw it in the chat now, and we can go over that. Otherwise, I'll carry on with Islamic practices. I was then going to go on to theme D because I just thought theme D would be a good one to go over. Okay, Katie, I didn't realise I was on your telly. No, Jack, I've not improved my computer in a long time because I have these 2 children now who are very, very expensive. In fact, my computer is now so old and broken down that I do cloud gaming now. With a question about angels, Lillian, there could be a question about angels. Angels definitely could be a question. So, Fran's on her iPad. Thanks, Fran, for letting us know. Carla and Lillian are about to have a chat. So, let's have a think about potential angel questions and what they could be. So, angel questions, okay. The first question would probably be something along the lines of, Mr. Minton, did it hurt when you fell from heaven? Okay, the answer is no, because angels do not feel pain like mortals, as we are beings of light created by Allah. Okay, I'm not actually an angel, be honest on the point I'm making there. So actual angel questions that would be in the exam would be so 4-5 marker would be easy. Okay, explain 2 contrasting teachings about angels. Explain, that would be a 5 marker. Explain 2 ways that angels influence Muslims today. 12 marker. Now 12 marker could get a tricky one. You could have something along the lines of Jibril is the most important angel. In 2018, I think the question was belief in angels is not relevant in the modern world. Or it could be something as simple as like angels are the most important of the 6 articles. What I do? Is most important. I'll just go Islamic belief because I don't know if they'd split angels up over Sunny and Sheer. Most important of Islamic belief. I mean, that would be a silly question because you're just going to say, no, Allah is. What could they ask about prophets? I'll just leave these questions up for a second, Nicole, and I will go to prophets in a second. Any of these questions you'd like me to go over on angels? Are these angels questions you'd like me to actually do? Then we'll give people a second. And then, Nicole, happy to look at potential prophet questions. So, explain two contrasting teachings about angels. I'm just going to choose two angels and describe them. And I'm probably going to go... I'm going to do Jibril, because Jibril's so easy to talk about. For 5 marks, you've got the easiest quote in the world. Recite, recite, recite. Which is fantastic to do. So I'd be like, one belief about angels is the angel Jibril is said to be the messenger who brought the Quran to Allah. Who brought the Quran to Muhammad. This is shown in the Quran when he is said to have said, recite, 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 when he, on the night of power, when he revealed the Quran originally to Muhammad in the cave of Hijra. Something along those lines would be my first point, and then my second point would probably be like a second belief about angels is about the angel, maybe I'll go Azrael, who is the angel of death, full stop. Part of his role is to lead Muslims across the bridge of Asirat to make sure only the worthy get into Jannah, something like that. Like that would probably be like the basics of where I went with it. I think that's probably the easiest. If you wanted like just a general quote about angels, beings with wings of 2 or 3 or 4, like that's a nice simple one about angels. I quite like that one. You could talk about like each person has angels. That's another quote. Each person has angels before him and behind. Oh, where's everyone gone? I've lost the chat. Oh no, what did I click? There. The second 12 marker. Let me look at what I wrote for the second 12 marker. Belief in angels is not relevant in the modern world. So Husna's thinking, because Husna is going to realise that the arguing against them is pretty difficult. So the second 12 marker. Let's have a quick think of what we do for that one. Even though this question won't come up word for word, a variation of it could, and some of the ideas might be useful. For example, they could reword this question and have it as a prophets question, which would be horrible. Like, belief in prophets is not relevant in the modern world. Right. So, let's have a go at this. Sit my thing there. So, the second point. I think arguing that angels are relevant is pretty easy. So, I'm going to call this paragraph 1. Oh, helps I do. Paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3, paragraph 4. Conk. Okay, so I'm going to do paragraph 1. Yes, they are. Angels are with you all the time, writing down your deeds. Okay, that is my first point. I'm going to go on that one. And quote, each person has angels before him and behind him. I think I've got that quote wrong. Let me double check that quote. You thick old man, you should know the quotes is literally your job. No, that's right. Each person, yeah. I did get it right. Each person has angels before and behind him. Well done. Then my second one will probably be like, no. Now, you're going to see how I'm going with this one. You don't need angels anymore. And if I'm going to evaluate P1, I'm going to evaluate it as a strong argument, because I'm going to come down and say angels are relevant. My evaluation is going to be like, this is a strong argument, because to get into Jannah, we must have our book of good deeds, and to do that, we must have our angels with us. I'm going to argue that angels are good, so that's how I'm going to go with this one. You don't need angels anymore. Anymore is one word. You don't need any anymore. You have the Quran. We don't need any angels anymore. Once the Quran has been delivered, now the Quran is the only thing that's relevant. However, my evaluation, and then I'm going to do recite at that point. Well, I won't. I'll do recite next. But I'll do a quote about the Quran at that point. But I'm going to do my evaluation, which I'm very pleased about, is going to be, but without angel Jibril, where's the J? You don't have the Quran. You absolute thicko. So you can't have the Quran. Then I'm going to go into, yes, Jibril is still relevant, as without him we don't have the night of power. Okay, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Okay, and then for my last one, I'm going to go renegade. Okay, I'm going to go no imamate. Okay, yeah, I'm going imamate. I'm a wild man. I do what I want sometimes. I'm out there. I'm a renegade thinker. I'm a 38-year-old RE teacher. We've got wild thoughts, okay? I'm going to say the imamate's more important. I'm going to go, we don't need angels in Shia Islam. Oh, I've lost the chat again. I'm so stupid. How have I lost the chat again? Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, there it is. There it is. Okay, I'm going to do angels. Don't need angels in Shia Islam. The imams are there to guide people. And... oh, I'll find the chat in a second. And angels are not part of the 5 roots of faith. And then I'm going to go like, ow, no, that is a weak argument because that does not apply to all Muslims. And also, Shia Muslims still believe in angels. It doesn't mean they're relevant just because they're not part of that. And then conclude that angels are still relevant one day. Oh, I found the chat. Oh, I've missed some things. Oh, no, I haven't. Not too much. Hello, George K. Lillian saying thank you for something, but I forgot what I was being thanked for. George just said airball. George, you're going to have to explain why you said airball. Josie. Josie got a 9 last year. Josie's one of our heroes. Lovely, Josie. Well done. Nice to see you. Hiya, Light. Nice to see you, darling. Obviously, physically can't see you. That'd be really creepy. Nice that you're here. Nicole wants to do profits next. So let me make a slide about profits. Okay. So, profits. Now, profits could have like 1,000 different questions. So we think about 4 or 5 mark questions. It could be like, explain 2 contrasting beliefs about profits. That would be so easy. I would literally just fall on the floor and smile forever. Now, that would be a 5 marker. And it could be... now, this would be interesting. It could be like, explain how a belief in, and then I'm going to put the 3 prophets, Adam / Ibrahim / Muhammad, influences Muslims today. That would be a nice 4 or 5 marker. Well, 4 or 5 markers, good job about that. I guess then you could actually have this about any of them. It could be like Adam / Ibrahim / Muhammad. I don't mind any of those questions. I really don't. The hardest for me in any of those would be to do about Adam. I think Adam is naturally the one that we link the least to in terms of like there's the less we always feel there's the least to say about him. We've got the creation story and we've got being a Khalifa. Make sure you mention being a Khalifa. It's nice to have you, George, here for the use of that word. I know it's your favourite. Or as Sam Dodd says, a Clifford. Please don't do that in the exam, Sam. I have no doubt you're not here. You're probably doing something much more important. But when someone tells you about it later, please don't be annoyed. 12 markers about profits could be harder. So like a 12 marker could be something along the lines of, now it could be a nice one, which could be like Adam / Ibrahim / Muhammad is the most important prophet. That would be, I think, relatively fine. Okay. Now, you could believe in profits is not important in the modern world. So taking that angels question, making it into profits. If I know Husna at all, Husna is rolling her eyes at how silly a question that would be, because if you actually asked a Muslim about it in real life, they would just be like, that is a ridiculous question. Of course, the profits are still relevant, but it's a sort of thing the RE board could ask. Oh, what's that noise? Oh, my wife coming home. Or it could be something like people should rely on the Quran, on how would they phrase it? On the holy books rather than the prophets. Now that's a silly question because obviously the prophets and the holy books are completely linked, but they could phrase it in some way like that. Uh, Okay, so Carla, really good question. The Imams are all dead, and yet there are still religious leaders within Iran and within Shia Islam. So they would say that the Imams are going to return, don't forget, on Judgment Day, and that was the role of the Imams. And within the Shia religion, there are still Imams today, as in people who take responsibility for their local, their local communities, and that the nation of Iran has religious leaders who are there to explain how the religious teachings apply today. That's a very good point, though. The 12 original imams are obviously all dead apart. Well, the 11 are all dead apart from the 12th imam who's hiding. Fran is confused. Fran, if you could explain why you're confused, that'd be great. For the angel question, oh, for the angel question, yes. Sorry, Husna's just talking to Light. Oh, sorry. No, he said live. Is that what airboard means? That's Josie. Look, don't ever stop following me, because otherwise I lose my followers and I cry, because this is my primary source of income now. That's not true. I still haven't monetized my channel because I still don't remember how. Light and Husna just having a chat. What themes we're doing tomorrow? E and D. Fran answered that. Perfect. And then Shia quotes about the imams. Everything is confusing me. Okay, Fran, if you could ask him slightly more specific question, Fran, that might be useful. So Husna, I've got a quote that you can use on the imams, which is obey those of you who are in authority. Where's my phone? Double check. Minton. Yeah, you got the wording right. Which I'll put on the screen now for you, Husna. Any of those, if I left them up for a while, but did anyone want to go through? No, I still can't find the chat again. Keep losing the chat. Does anyone want to go through any of those prophets 12 questions? If you want to, that's fine. Nicole, Fran, if there's something specific, please ask. I'll happily go over anything you want to do again. If there's any bits you want to go over and you're like, I don't know what's going on, please say. I'm happy just to do whatever you guys want for this. This is the whole point. For the most important prophet, will they ever ask in their proper names? So that's Katie, you're thinking of angels rather than prophets, I think, on that one. Israfil's an angel. Yes, they will refer to the angels by their Islamic name. However, they've never done it, but they should put in brackets the English name afterwards. Certainly for Jibrail and Mikael. Now, they've never written Israfil in an exam, so I don't know if they do it for him as well. But I don't know if they would or not. Raphael's not done. Azrael doesn't have one. Yeah, I believe that is from the Quran. Let me double check that I've not gone mad. I found this going through a textbook the other day. I was like, that is nice. And I'm sure it said in the textbook it was in the Quran, but let me double check before I'm losing my mind. No, sorry, it's what is that from? Oh, now just on their textbook. I don't know what they haven't sourced that quote. See, this is lazy. I can only find it sourced from. Oh, here we go. Oh yeah, it's from the Quran. It's from the Quran. Chapter Surah An-Nisa. Yeah, so it's a shortened down version of a longer Quran quote, verse 59 of Surah An-Nisa. O believers, obey Allah, obey the Messenger, and those in authority among you. So see, that's a bit naughty. But obey those in authority is a broken down version of a longer Quran quote. Go through the angels again? Of course I can. Yeah, sure thing, George. We'll do the last bit. We'll do angels, and then we'll just do loads of quotes. That seems a really useful thing to do. So I'll delete that quote for a second, and we'll do angels. Okay. Angels are 4 angels that we need, well, that you should know about. Jibril, easiest. Mikael, pretty easy. Israfil, not bad. And our friend Azrael. Okay, so Jibrail, if there's a question, just almost certainly they will just ask about angels in general. We've never known them to ask like 12 markers about individual angels. We always fear it, but they should just ask about angels. But Jibrail is the most important, okay? He is the messenger. That's his main role. He's the messenger, okay? And his big job is the Knight of Power. He brings the Quran. Recite. Okay. Okay, recite. That is his important thing. Then you've got the story of Ibrahim. Oh, what am I doing up there? Then you've got the story of Ibrahim and the fire. And it's the angel Jibrail who brings that message at that point again, okay? It's angel Jibrail who brings that message at that point again. To get some more quotes, there's not are there any other quotes directly about Jibrail? There probably are, but not that I know that are short and nice. Okay, so Mikael, okay, he's the bringer of the rains. Okay, now you can link that to Khalifa and the idea that we have to look after the environment, as Mikael cares about the environment. Not in a direct way, like we can link him to that, and he brings challenges to us to test our faith. Okay, that is what Mikael is doing. Okay, I'll do bonk, bonk, bonk. Israfil plays the trumpet to end the world. Link to Judgment Day. He also collected the dust to make Adam. So creates first man. And ends racism, because racism has ended. There's no longer any racism. We've stopped it because of that. I'm fairly certain. Well done. And I won't ever look at a newspaper again. I'm just going to assume that racism has ended, and we're going to be very pleased with ourselves. And I won't look at anything else. Angel of Death makes sure that everyone gets to the correct afterlife. Takes souls to Barzak. Capital B. Barzak. Katie, there's your just overview of the angels. I will do quotes in a bit. 10 minutes to do last 10 minutes on quotes. Carla wants quotes. Do you lose a mark if you say the wrong source or quote? Only on a 5 marker, Lillian, would you lose the full mark for it. So only on a 5 marker would you lose marks. Otherwise, Lillian, on like a 12 marker, you don't need to source the quote necessarily. So if you're not sure, don't bother. Now, don't forget, 99% of the quotes we've done, especially for Islam, have been Quran. Nearly everything for the Bible, for the Christian module is the Bible. When you're doing the themes, make sure you focus just on saying it's a Bible quote, it's a Bible quote, it's a Bible quote. Okay, let's just do, for George and Carla, a load of quotes. Now, George, there's no point flooding us with so many quotes. I'll just move the camera, so I don't know if I'm still on the camera. I assume I'm still on it. Oh, I really want to sneeze. I can't sneeze. So, okay. We'll do quotes, and then let's put that onto quotes. Right, so we'll do beliefs, and then we'll do practices. So, beliefs. Easiest ones. The Shahada is your easiest quote because it's got loads of functionality, okay? There is one God who is Allah, and Muhammad is his messenger. Okay. George, this quote is really useful because you can use it on a question about Muhammad, you can use it on a question about the nature of Allah, and you can use it on a question about the Shahada. So you've got 3 direct things you can use it on there. Okay, that is so useful. So a question about the nature of God, you've got it. If there's a question about Muhammad, big part of it, you've got it. And if there's a question about the Shahada itself, you've got it. And don't forget, You've then got it on comparisons about Sunni and Shia Islam. You've got it that it's said at the start of prayers. So if you're really stuck, you could say it's the start of prayers, okay? So I think that's a really useful one. Then your second one in beliefs that you're going to use all the time is obviously recite, recite, recite. Now this is a really useful one because I would use it on any question that's about Muhammad. I'd use it on any question that's about the angels. I'd use it on any question that's about the holy books. Okay, that's three big things we can be using that quote. Okay, yeah, Fran, certainly. Okay, Katie, good question. It's a good thing because the Day of Judgment isn't to be feared if you're a good Muslim. It is the end of the world, but you're going to go to Jannah. It is a sign the world will be ending, which is bad, but it's also a sign that the Day of Judgment will begin, and the people who are going to be going there, are going to heaven, are going to get what they deserve. Everything, God's justice, His adalat, He will be just, is going to happen. So I think for most Muslims it's considered not necessarily a bad thing. It's just a thing that will happen. Inshallah, God wills it. You cannot stop it. Someone asked for a quote about something and I've immediately forgotten what they wanted. Afterlife, of course. So, quotes about the afterlife. This is a nice one. The righteous, this means good people, righteous will have gardens in paradise. Okay, that's a nice simple one. So that's a great quote, and George, I'm looking at you for this one as well. Obviously can't see any of you. The righteous will have gardens in paradise is a really good thing to use on loads of practices questions as well. So even though it's a quote about the afterlife, right? Let's say you had a 5-mark question about why Muslims pray. They pray because they want to get into Jannah, because it's a good deed. And the righteous will have gardens in paradise, which they want. Why do Muslims fast during Ramadan? Well, Ramadan is a time when their good deeds are multiplied, and so they want to do a good deed during this month. And the righteous will have gardens in paradise, which is where they want to go. Why do Muslims go on Hajj? Well, if you die on the Hajj, you actually go straight to Jannah. And this is a good thing because the righteous will have gardens in paradise. That 5-marker on the practices section, you could probably 90% of the time be able to say something about the afterlife, because the whole purpose of what a religious person is doing, you could probably in some way link to the afterlife. I think I'd struggle to link it on a festivals question, but apart from that, I could probably link it onto any other question. Shahada, you say at the end of a Muslim's life because you want to make sure their life begins and ends with Allah, and to remember that they are going on their journey to eventually to Jannah, which is the righteous will have gardens in paradise. So that's what I definitely want to be in there. What other quotes would I want? If I was doing the Quran, I would have this is the scripture of which there is no doubt. Okay, so the Quran itself is the scripture that you cannot doubt. You can't doubt or question the Quran. Okay, the scripture of which there is no doubt. Right. In fact, we'll do practices on a different page because then we can get a couple more quotes in there. I can leave it up on the screen there for a bit. Now, obviously, predestination. You've got Inshallah, Allah wills it, but you've also got never will we be struck except by Allah's will. And I gave you other quotes for that one, but that's one that comes into my head at this moment. What other quotes a little do I can think of? Oh, yes, that's a nice one. Is Allah not the best of... Now, is it just judges or is it all judges? I'm going to say it's the best of all judges. And now... Oh, and that's a question because they're saying, is Allah not the best of all judges? That's a question. Let me just double check that's correct. Is Allah not the best? Oh, well, obviously there's a translation where it says all judges and the translation just where it says judges. So there you go. I think I can do both. Excellent. Okay. Fran, that bridge is called Asirat. I'm going to write it in the chat for you, Fran, because I don't want to put it on the screen there because I get confused with the quotes. But it's called Asirat. Oh, Husna, darling, you're cleverer than me on these things, so I don't know what that quote is off by heart. Let me copy and paste it into Google. Yeah, of course you can. Husna, you can use any Quranic quotes that you know. Like, it is up to the examiner then to work out where it's from, and if they don't know it, they have to search it up. So you use whatever quotes you want. So the quote Husna's put in there is, you will then be presented before him for judgment, and none of your secrets will stay hidden. That's bad news for me. I'm in trouble at that point. Not all my secrets. He'll know where I've hidden everything. Yeah, I like that. I like that, Husna. It's very specific on Judgment Day. I don't think it's the best for the rest of the class because it's so specific. It would only be on a question about Judgment Day. Possibly I could use it on a question about angels, to say the angels have written down all that I know, because it's the moment when I'm being presented for judgment, I suppose, when the angels will be writing this down. But that's where I'd be presented to use this. Hey, Izzy, my absolute hero. Lovely to see you. For those people who wanted lots of quotes, Carla and George, is that enough quotes for beliefs, or do you want more quotes? If that's enough, I won't do any more. I think 6 or 7 quotes, whatever I put down there, is probably enough for half of it. I don't want to. Yeah, George, that's really nice, actually, George. That's a really nice way of using it. I like that a lot. Yeah, I'll put that quote in. We're going to... Husna. George has worked out a way of using that quote better than I have, and so we'll put it onto the PowerPoint. Husna, as we expected, teaching this lesson better than I am. You should probably be collecting a paycheck, but if you knew how little I got paid, you really wouldn't want to steal off me. There you go. How many have I got there? Let's do that thing where it numbers them. So that's 8 quotes there. I think that's enough to try and learn in 12 hours, because you're not going to be doing it tomorrow morning at this time, because you'll be getting ready for your English exam, and you've got to remember about Dr. Freckle and Mr. Bide and all that sort of stuff. We'll do more quotes. We'll do Islamic practices in a second. I'll just leave those up there for another couple of seconds. Where do I keep putting that? Oh, sorry, Katie. For the angel Israel, there's a fact that Trump... I talked about that. Oh, sorry, I've missed the second question. Yeah, Barzakh is the barrier between death and resurrection. So Barzakh is the grave, is the time you spend in the grave waiting for Judgment Day. That is Barzakh. Sorry, Katie, there were 2 questions. I just didn't read that one. Okay, we're now just having 2024 GCSE reunions in the chat. That's fine. You both missed Evan Lister was here earlier, so it would have been the unholy trio at that point. Okay, so... Oh, my back is killing me. As you can see, I'm in a really smart professional desk setting. I'm definitely not sat on the floor by my sofa. Just trying to do this because I can... Oh, is that camera even facing me? Is it above my head? No, that's fine. Of course it's a bit... I mean, Nicole, you say, do I think they'll do a 12 mark on festivals? Me and Miss Stubbs wrote the exam, so I know what's on it tomorrow. I'm not telling you. There could be a question of Holy War. There could be a 12 mark on festivals as well, Nicole, but I'm not going to give away whether it is or not. I wrote it. Oh, yeah, Josie, I'm not sure I'm helping you revise for an A-level exam at this point. What are you doing in A-level? I would like to know that before you leave. Please tell me what you're learning about in A-level. So... Islam, my favourite quote, and the one... Well, okay, so practices. You've got the Shahada still, so we don't need to repeat the Shahada. That would be silly. So we won't repeat the Shahada, but we will take this quote about prayer, and we'll have seek help through patience and prayer, which was on the slideshow earlier. That's a useful one, okay? I think that's a really useful one. And then if you wanted... We haven't talked about Hajj, but we got that a pilgrimage to the house is a duty owed to God, okay? Hajj is a duty that all people must do. So a pilgrimage to the house is a duty owed by God. Okay, then you've got the prescribed to you. Fasting is prescribed to you. Okay, it is a medicine. Fasting will make you better. Fasting will clean your soul, so you have a better chance of getting into paradise. Okay, fasting is prescribed to you, but also fighting is prescribed to you. you have to fight. But when do you have to fight? In the lesser jihad. The lesser jihad is no longer as important, but it's important that you fight to protect your faith. Now, my favourite one. He who eats while his brother goes hungry is not one of us. I think that quote is amazing. I think you should use it all the time. I think that's a great one. We've got fasting. What have we got? Oh yeah, charity. Alms are meant for the poor and needy. And what's the one about travellers? I'll put it in my other thing here. I've got the phrasing of it. Oh yeah. Now this will be a half quote. And now this is nice. For travellers in need, as in people going on journey, not travellers as in the travelling community, obviously. The one that is always difficult is for festivals, and we'll go on that in a second, because I didn't actually need good quotes about Ibrahim at that point, so we'll do about that in a second. So, these quotes, let me just check there's no questions. Well, you never know, Carla. We are horrible like that. Hey, I'm really proud, Izzy. Really, really proud. No, Karim, we have made this argument, and Miss Heskett has decided that you're doing cooking first and you're doing RE next week. Yeah, you don't have the choice. I'm sorry, mate. Well, Nicole, you should know. I'm a very important guy. Okay? That's why I'm paid the small bucks. Okay? I'm a very important person. Okay. Thanks, Mr. Butters. That's a useful thing. So, these quotes. Seek help through patience and prayer. Easy quote to do, okay? It's very much about prayer specifically. However, I could probably manipulate it into some other questions to be like the idea that Allah is there to guide me. So if it's about the nature of Allah, I might be able to drop that one in there in a 12 marker and being like, oh, Allah is there to help us. Allah is beneficent. And because we can ask him for help, because we can seek help through patience and prayer. Now, you're going to probably have to talk about the Hajj at some point. So, pilgrimage to the house is a duty owed to God. That is a nice, simple one. But 12 marker, if you're comparing some of the 5 pillars, you can say it's a duty owed to God. All Muslims must do this. And we're going to look at one more quote. I've realised there's another quote I want to do, actually. But it's in beliefs, but it'll be a useful practice as well. Fasting is prescribed to you. Said that as we're going through. Fighting is prescribed to you. I said that as we went through. He who eats while his brother goes hungry is not one of us. If you are eating, as in if you are full and you are not looking after other people, then you're not one of us. Now, what am I going to use that for? I'm going to use that for Eid al-Fitr. I'm going to use that for Saum. I'm going to use that for Zakah. Okay, that's my most useful quote for that one. And actually, you could use it for Eid al-Adha as well. Okay, I could use it for all of those things. Okay, I think that would be a really useful thing to do. Okay. Now I just realised we're going to need that. Alms meant for the poor and needy is just a useful one about good deeds. Alms meant for the poor and needy, simple. It's going to be specifically about zakah, but you could also talk about sadaqah and khums on that one, which are the other 2 forms of religious charity. Sadaqah is any other charity donations you make throughout the year. I give money to a homeless man, that is sadaqah. I give to 20% is khums, and that is a Shia charity donation to protect the faith. And for travellers in need, that is another bit about zakah. The money, well, it's about alms. The money goes to travellers in need, but that is a nice way to link that idea and people going on the Hajj, and the fact that the Hajj is so important that part of it is to help people go on the Hajj with the money given by zakat and stuff. So you can link those 2 ideas in there, that the money for zakat is given for travellers in need. Now, the fiddly quotes that I just wanted to add, okay, that I should have done as I went through, and I didn't think enough. Okay, you've got quotes part 3, with a vengeance, because with a vengeance, yeah, with a why have I done a vengeance? No, I've spelled vengeance wrong as well. with a Vengeance. Yeah, that's the name of Diad 3. I have seen in a dream that I am slaughtering you. That's a really useful one because that's about Ibrahim, but it's also the quote you could use for Hajj, about why Hajj is so important, because Hajj is all about remembrance of this story, and you can use it on one about how they should be loyal to God, so it's a nature of God question, that he's testing them. You could use it on a question about afterlife, that afterlife is a test and we are being tested. You could use it on one about predestination, because you could say that, like, Ibrahim was being tested by Allah at this point. I think that's actually a really useful quote. And you can use it on Eid al-Adha, and because the festivals are tough for quotes. Now, the only one that's annoying at this point is that you just have to have a quote about Ashura for Shia Muslims, and there is not an easy one for that. Every day is Ashura, and every land is Kabbalah. Is it Kabbalah or Karbala? Yeah, that looks better. Every land is Karbala. Now, that is just a really difficult one. That's by Alubiyat. I think that's how you spell that. No. Oh, whoops, I missed the name. There we go. That's better. Who I don't know much about. I don't know the source of that particularly well at all. That's just one you have to learn on its own. If you bother to learn an Ashura quote, if there's an Ashura quote, that's the simplest one I can give you. Sorry, I've missed the chat for ages. Okay. Mr. Butler, no, Izzy. Yo, look who joined the chat. I don't know. So you have your mini mock and Christianity, birth of Jesus, resurrection, Bible as wisdom, and authority in daily life, Bible as wisdom, authority, early church, Acts of Apostles, and views of Jesus. Oh, that's intense. For beliefs can use misfortune can only happen with God's mission. Yeah, that's a nice one, Katie. I'd certainly use that for like the predestination and the nature of Allah. Let me just check. Yeah, if that is. Have a look. Yeah, it's a Quran quote. You've absolutely nailed it. Yeah. Will's here. Hiya, Will. Allah is one. Yeah, that's a nice one, Izzy. Really nice one. About for the nature of Allah. Just make quotes of you mark so long as I believe no one noticed. I'll notice because I Google them because I'm a loser, Josie. I can't remember all these quotes. Hi, Josie. Elliot. Oh, hi, Elliot. You're right, darling. Oh, were you Mr. Butters, Elliot? Ah. I hope that was you. Lovely to see you, Elliot. I'm glad you're well. Yeah, Elliot, no wonder you don't remember anything. You've got all of this stuff. Right. Don't just have a chat, Will and Karim. Not what we're doing. Yeah, so that's the source for stuff about Shia. That's a Shia Islam source, Husna. It's the family of... It's referred. What is that? Where have I seen it? It's like the family of the Prophet, I think, like the relatives, the distant family of the prophets. But you just need to know that it's the source of it. Kabbalah is the lands where Shia Muslims are at that point. Well, the festival where you kill the sheep and circle the golden donkey. Izzy, we don't talk about that, man. I'm good, thanks. But right, Will, you're just having a conversation. The golden donkey is really important. It rides. Fran, don't try and trick people. Josie, really proud of you. That's excellent. That's really, really good. Will should be ready for the mark. Right, stop talking about the golden donkey. Right, Alubaya is just a source of that quote. If you were going to learn that quote in particular as a 5-mark quote, it's just a source of the quote, okay? So if you just say this quote from Alubaya, that will get you the marks. Don't stress about it any more than that. So, yeah, and in the textbook, that is certainly how it's spelt. I have also seen it spelt differently, Husna. I'm with you on that one. I would have spelt it, because I got that from a textbook, probably I'd have spelt it like that. Is that how you'd have spelt it? But that's how I would have spelt it, Husna. But the textbook's got it spelt the other way, and I don't quite know why. Right, Josie, please stop trying to make my current year 11s write about the golden donkey. You guys set a very high standard last year, and these guys need to achieve it as well. So and you got a really nice, easy themes exam. And we haven't talked about any themes today, we just talked about Islam. Right, I'll stay on for another 5 minutes, guys, to answer any questions, but otherwise I've done an hour there, and I think I have to stop now because you guys need to get some sleep, and I need to go out into the woods and scream. Well, I'll be happy if you get 4, because that's a grade up from what you got last time. We're just making progress. Yeah, Josie, your Islam paper was stunning. Raccoon Civilization. Evan Lister mentioned that immediately when he got in earlier, is he? That's the first thing Evan Lister mentioned. Reconciliation. Raccoon Civilization. How do I do them? Like, that is... So I'm fasting, Katie. Right, how do I do... Like, that's a big question. Right, so, I would do my paragraph like this. I'm going to quickly knock out, as quickly as I can, a 12-marker paragraph. So... I don't know, let's say it's about the Festival of Ashura, okay? So I'm going to go, let's say the question is, the most important festival is Ashura, okay? So some, helps I can spell, some Muslims, my lord, Muslims would agree that Ashura is the most important festival, as it is one where people show a particularly high level of dedication and commitment. For example, some Shia Muslims choose to self-flagellate (brackets whip themselves) as a sign of their devotion to Allah and in the memory of Hussein, who was martyred. That's not how you spell that, is it? Oh, it is. Thanks, Anastasia, for teaching me that word. The spelling, I knew the word before, I'm not that thick. Who was martyred. This shows it is the most important festival, as no other festivals involve such physical hardship. So that would be my paragraph. Now we're going to do the evaluation. I'll go, however, this could be seen as a weak argument, as Ashura is not celebrated by all Muslims, and even those Shia Muslims who do celebrate often, actually mostly don't engage in such violence. Okay, so I've got this bit at the end here from the word however. Okay, that is going to be my evaluation there, and then I'm going to link that directly. I'll delete those quotes for a second. I'm going to link that directly into my next paragraph. Okay, so we're going to stay with the green, and I'm going to go a festival that does bring all Muslims together is Eid al-Fitr, which, unlike Ashura, is celebrated in similar ways by both Sunni and Shia Muslims. Okay, bang. I've used the evaluation line in my previous one to link it to my next paragraph. This is what they'd call in the mark scheme logical chains of reasoning. That's the thing that gets you 10, 11, 12. You've taken one of your paragraphs and logically chained it to your next paragraph. Your paragraphs aren't just these things floating in space. They are part of a coherent argument. They are part of a coherent point you're making. You've said a weakness of one of your points and then linked it to the strength of your next point. I hope that helps, Light. Okay. Fran, if I answer all the questions on the themes paper and only one question is Islam, will I still do good? No, Fran. For festivals, can you use Muhammad's speech about doing your 5 prayers and fast during Ramadan? Yes, Karim. Have you seen my paper, sir? Yes, Josie, I've seen your paper. It's very impressive. For your mock, make sure to call Minton. Thanks, Izzy. I hope so, Fran. So, martyred is someone who dies for their belief, Will. So, Hussein refused to give up his beliefs in Shia Islam and was beheaded because of it. So, he refused to deny the faith and was beheaded because of it. So, he is a martyr. Dying for you, LKT's absolutely said it as well. I don't know these quotes I'm going to remember for the exam. What about the minimum amount I could do for 12 marker? 3. I could think you could probably get 12 marks with 3 quotes, maybe 4. But I'd want to see 3 quotes. You can don't forget, on a 12 marker, it doesn't just have to be quotes. It can be religious teachings. So if you, on a 12 marker, on one about Ibrahim, were to tell the story about him going to the fire, briefly, that's religious teachings. The only question you need to have a quote on, and actually have it as quoted scripture, is the 5 marker. Everything else can be religious teachings if you explain the story or paraphrase it. So don't panic so much about quotes. Panic so much about having enough religious knowledge that you can talk about these things confidently. Can I do a question, objective and subjective views on biblical inspiration? Oh my lord, that's great. That's a good question though, Josie. I love that. Thanks. I'm glad that helpful. And why do I not finish papers? Because that's a lot. Yeah, it is a lot, Katie. I'm sorry, darling. Hopefully you'll have you'll have had a warm up in English in the morning. Okay, Fran, that's great. Will, I think you're going to smash it. I've got faith in you. Did you get your mum to watch it time? Yeah, Nicole, Katie, I thought you were asking for more time. I thought your mum was getting onto this. I'm going to, I'm very well. A certain maths teacher is very well as well. The lights just went off upstairs. So I think that certain maths teacher has gone to bed. So I'm going to have to be quiet down here. The RE office is devastated without you, Izzy. Yeah, Josie used all of her extra time to write essentially a novel on RE. Nicole, is a pass a 4 for you? Because if a pass is a 4, I'd want to be getting 60 marks. We don't know where the mark scheme will be exactly, but in fact, do I know the mark scheme exactly? I probably no, because we haven't actually marked the papers yet, so we'll do it based on that. But I can probably get previous mark schemes up. Oh no, I am so stupid sometimes. I just locked myself out my own account, so I've got to enter a code. Right. Now, when did Stubbsy send me the last grade boundaries one? That's an email about toilet passes. That's not quite what I need right now. Stubbsall, right. For so it'll be somewhere around 58% to 60%. Nicole, how many marks on one paper? 56. No, 50. So 51 marks per paper, Fran. Oh, I'm tired. Actually made a new. Oh yeah, that was bold, Josie. Yeah, 51 on each exam, 102 overall, Fran. Because it's Let me. Yes, if you full marked a paper, you would be in a very, very good position. You can ask Josie about that because she full marked a paper. Almost dropped 1 mark. Right, so. Yeah, 51. I'm just doing it again. Yeah, 51 marks per paper. Well, a miracle is actually part of the exam, Fran, so that's perfect. So you can talk about miracles. That's a perfect thing to be talking about. Right. I'm going to give you another 2 minutes to ask any more questions, and then I'm going to end the stream. I hope you found this somewhat useful. Am I free at your lunch break tomorrow? Yes, I'm on year 11 lunch, so I will, but I think you guys have got different lunch to me, haven't you? Aren't you? Are you lot on an early lunch? Because if you are, I'm teaching core RE annoyingly. So I've got a feeling you guys have got a lunch when I've not. There'll be Sarasa pens in the office. So if you need pens, I'm in the office. Well, Nicole. I would imagine Stubbsy. It won't be me. I'm a part-time RE teacher. If you guys are on normal year 11 lunch, then I'll be there, but I don't think you are. I think you must have an early lunch. I'm almost certain you will do, because it's an hour and 45 minutes, so I think you'll be well early. Elliot will say hello. I'll remind them of the hello. Josie, you and Elliot have basically said the same thing. That's incredible. Well done. I'll tell them. I'll tell Golders. I'll text her now because she's not in work tomorrow. So I'll text Golders and say you said hello. She'll be very happy to hear from you. Keris, the second it finishes, it'll all be saved on the channel, so you can watch all of it. It's been going for an hour and a half now, so I'm going to stop it. Because the world must carry on without me. Right. But don't watch it now, because it's 9:20. Oh. Hello, Louis. Lovely to hear from you, darling. I hope you're doing well. Right, your core... I mean, if you really need to, Katie, I'm up in languages. I'm not in the RE department. Tell me, yeah, Golby will do revision in core, Carla. But I think your lunch. I don't know how much of period 4 you'll even be in, because won't you basically go straight from? You'll have your English lit. How long's English lit? I think you'll go English lit break time. Basically straight into lunchtime and the thing, won't you? I don't know how much time you'll have. I don't know how long that morning exam is, because you'll have a bit of period 3, won't you? I don't think you'll be. Right, Elliot, can you ring Izzy? That's the most important thing. Of course, I remember you, Louis. Yeah, if you're right, 120. So let me have a look at exactly. Do you know what? Miss Heskett sent it round earlier where you're going to be, so I can just read that. So you lot will be inbox, Heskett. So yeah, your English exam is 2 hours 15, and it's meant to start at sort of 9:15ish. So that'll be 9:30. You won't be out of there until 11:30. So you're going to have lunch at the early time of 12:20. So you're only going to be, you're barely going to be in lesson at all. You'll be in a bit of P3. As soon as you go to break later than normal, if you do teach P3, please go, So you'll go late to P3, and then you guys will go earlier to lunch as well. So you'll go to lunch at 12:20. Follow exam briefing in the theatre at 12:50. Your exam should be starting at 1:05, Husna, 1:05. So I don't think you'll see me at all. Really. I think that makes us all miss each other. Ah, Tom. Oh, revision cards. No idea what Miss Humphrey's timetable is. Sorry, Nicole. Don't know. What's revision cards? Thank you, Tom. That's very kind of you, darling. Oh, yeah, Josie. People will love that. I don't know how you share them. I don't know how you share them to these people. Yeah, but these guys would love them. Carla, I've made it impossible. I thought it'd be really funny. I thought it'd be great to make. Oh, the dog's here. Rosa. Where are you? Come here. I'm coming up. Come here. Say hello. Say hello. Say hello. Say hello. Yeah, that's a lovely thing to offer, Josie. I don't know how you would share them with these guys. I don't know what the best way of doing that is. Is there? I don't know if you can put a link to them in the chat. That would be really useful. Yes, Lillian. Of course I do. You had one bad mock paper. No worries. I'm going to end the stream now, guys, because I do have to go to sleep. I have a baby to look after in the morning and a child. So, have a good one. Stay safe, you lot.